Why does a narcissist seem to walk ahead of you? Have you ever noticed that? You're out in public, you're walking through the mall, you're walking someplace together, and it seems like they don't even want to walk with you, but they're always walking ahead of you. Like, what is actually happening when they exhibit this behavior? Like, is there something going on, like, mindset-wise of, like, what they're doing? Or is it intentional? Is it something they just do? What does this actually look like? We're going to jump in and kind of explore some of the aspects of the underlying pieces of, like, why a narcissist walks ahead of you. Okay, we're not going to touch on everything, and I might be completely off in regards to your narcissist, but we're going to dive in based on my perspective and also what I've been looking at and understanding why the narcissist always walks ahead of you. So we're going to dive into some of that. Okay, before you guys get locked into a video being like, why does he always walk ahead of me? Just know who I am first. My name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm a narcissist. Yes, I am a narcissist, and I'm on here trying to tell people and give people awareness of what's actually happening, what it actually looks like, what's going on in the mind of a narcissist to help give you closure, help you understand, but ultimately get you to the place where we can help you break the trauma bond. We work with people every single day inside of our Thriver community, one-on-one, to help them break the trauma bond and continue to grow and glow up into the person that they're called to be. If that's you today, where you're struggling with the trauma bond, please reach out for help. Go to www.rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones. Would love to help you, would love to give you an idea and a plan to move forward in your healing. When we talk about this aspect of narcissists walking ahead, now, does every narcissist walk ahead? No. But what we're saying is a lot of times we'll see this pattern. And if you're one of these people that has seen this pattern, you've seen the narcissist in your life, like typically like be a couple steps, be like a couple yards ahead of you whenever you're walking together. So what's actually going on? First thing I want to point out is this aspect of establishing dominance and superiority. Okay, narcissists walk ahead of you as means of asserting their dominance over you, of saying like, hey, I'm better than you, I look better than you, I act better than you, like this is actually me, so you need to follow me. Okay, when a narcissist does that, like physically like positioning themselves in front of you, they're sending this like subtle message that they're in control of you and they're expecting you to follow. Did you ever have that aspect where the narcissist is walking ahead of you and all of a sudden you stop and get distracted and they're just like what? Like you're supposed to be following, like you're supposed to be subservient. That's the aspect a lot of narcissists have no matter what. You know, whether it's walking or whether it's just like interacting, the narcissist expects you to be subservient to them. So expects you to do the things that they want you to do. And so a narcissist will do this in multiple different ways in the relationship, with control, with manipulation, with gaslighting, with all different things to get the desired outcome, to get the thing that they're looking for on a day-to-day basis. However, in walking ahead, it sends a subtle message of like, I'm the one leading and you're the one following. Now, a lot of times the narcissist is going to do this to try to help make up for a piece of their ego and help make up for the piece that they're not leading in any relationship, in any aspect of their life ever. Okay, a lot of times you'll have a narcissist that will be walking ahead of you to establish this control dynamic, but they're not actually leading you in how you're showing up on a day-to-day basis for yourself physically. They're not leading you in any spiritual sense of the realm. They're not leading you in aspect of growing your relationship. They're not leading you in help you move forward in production in how your business or in your job. They're not leading you. But the thought process is, let me be in front of this person so I can actually lead them and make sure this person is actually following. Okay? This kind of also reinforces some of the behavior piece of like, I need to have power. I need to have this belief and this power that reinforces the idea that I'm more important than you because you have to follow me. And so the narcissist will be like, see, this is who I am. I'm this nice big person here, and this person has to follow me. Okay, now imagine this. So you're out and you're walking with a narcissistic person, okay? Partner, family member, whatever it might be. And they're consistently walking ahead. Doesn't seem like they bother to even slow down, to even adjust their pace to accommodate you. It's just like, nope, just moving ahead, just going. It's portraying this aspect of entitlement. Of like, hey, my needs are more important. What I'm doing is the most important. You better catch up or I'm going to leave you behind because I don't really care about you. I just care about what I actually want. Okay? Like this aspect, it conveys a sense of entitlement. It also reinforces a lot of times the belief that their needs and their desires take precedent over you. Because you're still running after them. You're still chasing them because they're leaving you to dust, because they're walking ahead of you. Okay, so it's subtly just telling you a lot of different things. All right, the second thing they want to be able to put up is this aspect of controlling the narrative and also attention. Okay, this happens when a narcissist puts themselves in this position of walking ahead of you, of being able to actually control the narrative, what they're seeing, what they're doing, and also to be able to foster this aspect of attention. Now, sometimes you have this with the narcissist where they're walking ahead of you to be able to see, and with the narrative, be able to control what you perceive of them. Okay, think of this for a minute. You might have a narcissistic male that's walking ahead of you so he can check out other females without getting your flack. Okay, you might have him actually be like, let me do this so I can do what I want to do without having to deal with someone else, nagging me. Okay, thought process, not reality. Okay, but a narcissist might do this. Okay, so walking ahead controls this aspect of the narrative and attention within different social reactions. So like by leading, by moving forward, I don't even like that word leading because they're not leading, but by walking ahead, like they're ensuring that the focus remains on them. Like you're focused on them, they enter a room, everybody else is focused on them. There's this aspect of like the focus, the attention is still on the toxic person. Okay, so it shows like, hey, like this is my preference, this is my agenda, this is what I want. Like everybody needs to focus on me. This aspect of narcissism that people are like, how can these people be like so much focused on themselves? When you start to have everyone else's needs dissipate and be less than yours, what else is there? The narcissist is focusing on themselves. And by this aspect of walking ahead, they create this attention pool where people are looking at them, people are interacting with them versus you. You kind of fall off into the wayside, you kind of become isolated, and the narcissist is like, why don't you actually make friends? And you're like, but they're your friends, I don't have time to make friends, and like all this different stuff to be able to manipulate and gaslight you. Okay, this behavior of walking ahead enables them to manipulate the dynamics of an interaction. Like they have multiple seconds, multiple minutes to interact with someone else before you even get there. That allows them to even pre-frame the conversation so that person already looks at you in a different light. Then you bring in triangulation. Then you bring in different forms of manipulation to be able to keep you under their control. This ends up putting you in a spot where you're constantly needing to respond to their needs. Like you're constantly trying to like try to keep up with the manipulation, with the different dynamics, with the different interactions, and it's all like about them. Okay? So think of it this way. You might have a group setting where a narcissist might walk purposely ahead, dictating the direction of the conversation or choosing the activities that they're actually going to do. Like being at the center of attention, like this is important for a lot of narcissists. They're like, not my narcissist. You might be surprised. Sometimes even covert narcissists will be at the center of attention, but they'll do it covertly. They won't be like, oh, look at me, but they'll position themselves just enough so that they're at the center of attention. Okay, real life example. When I was at college, we had like these long tables that we would sit at. And so I'd go with groups of people. And when we'd get to the table, I'd want to be like one of the first couple people to sit down at the table. The reason why is I knew I had to position myself in a certain place to be the center of attention. Okay, to be able to control conversations, to be able to be at a place where I wouldn't be on the outside. So say if I got there late and I was sitting at the end, I would probably be pretty disconnected because I'd be like, well, this is dumb. I can't actually help manipulate the conversation. I can't be the center of some of the conversation because I wasn't centered around some of the key players in that community, in that conversation. Does that make sense? Like there's a thought process that happens. Like for me, I'm able to analytically like break it down and be like, okay, this is what I was thinking. Not every narcissist will even do that, but it's the idea of like, let me put myself in a place that still promotes this aspect of attention and control. All right, then we have the third point that I want to bring up, and this is the aspect of creating a power imbalance. Okay, it creates a power imbalance when they're walking ahead of you. Let me kind of explain this. Like using physical positioning, it establishes a psychological distance and enforces the perceived superiority. Okay, we kind of touched on that earlier. But by being physically ahead, this aspect of like, I'm going to control like the pace, the direction, the overall experience of the interaction, of the direction we're going. And what that does is it leaves you feeling subordinate, less significant. Now, in talking through this, if you have someone who walks ahead of you once in a while, like, okay, that's life. Okay, we're talking about, we'll see this where narcissists will purposely do this to be able to manipulate, to control, to give you a different perception, and to get you to the place where they're creating this power imbalance where you realize and understand you're subservient to them. So like you go out on a date, you go out and you're walking around with your narcissist, and they might consistently walk ahead of you. Like this is done in a way to disregard your comfort. Disregard your desire for closeness, but also to create this neediness where you're like, well, let me catch up. Well, wait a second. What about me? And this like piece starts to boil up in you of like, wait a second, like, am I not good enough? And all these pieces get reinforced from a toxic person to get them what they want and to keep you begging for more. Okay, this whole behavior reinforces the aspect for power and control, and it subtly diminishes like your sense of importance. Like within the relationship, you don't really count. Have you been in this place where you've seen this? Maybe you've seen this in your own life. Maybe you're at the place where like you are walking and he was walking ahead of you, and you start to realize, you start to feel some of the feelings we're talking about of like, wait a second, that's me. I want to invite you to start learning and understanding more about narcissistic abuse, how it shows up in your relationship, how to actually heal from it, how to move forward. Go to escapetoxicity.com or click the link in the bio, because I want to be able to help you see where you are right now to where you can actually be. If you want an accelerated healing path where you work with me one-on-one, you're in a high-level community helping motivate and grow you to the place you need to be, then please reach out at rawmotivations.com. So go to www.rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones, say, hey, I'm interested in the Thriver community. Let's talk. Let's work through some of the things to see if you might be a good fit for that community, and if you're willing to make the moves necessary that are required to grow, to change, to heal, and develop, and to become the person that you're called to be.